This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of the Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. Today, I'm going to be talking about speed of service, and if you should or should not have some type of line pacing policy. If you don't know what that is, you might want to stick around and learn what a line pacing policy is. Okay, so let's start with what is a line pacing policy. Fast food restaurants do this as a part of their training procedure to get employees to understand that they have to work together as a team, and part of that is taking responsibility for how the orders come into the restaurant. Whether it's done in a full-service restaurant with sit-down dining and a host or hostess is taking you to the table, you walk up to a counter in a fast food restaurant, you come to the drive-thru. All of those different types of restaurants have policies and procedures to make sure that they don't overwhelm the kitchen, because overwhelming the kitchen is pointless. All that leads to is upset guests. Now, food truck owners, on the other hand, they've not had a lot of formal training, so they don't understand what line pacing is. And then they also read on Facebook groups like ours, for instance. This ridiculous kind of advice will be given, and it'll be somebody that'll say, people wait on good food. Well, they'll wait on the good food because you kidnap their money. They have no choice. Promise you that if you were to put a sign out, just like Walt Disney World does, and says, the line at this point will take you 1 hour to get to the ride. If you put that out in your line and tell people it'll be 1 hour before we serve you, you'll watch how many people leave. But once you've got their money, they're not leaving. If you take their money, you're on their clock. They expect to be fed, and it doesn't matter what your food is. If it's something that takes 15 minutes to cook from start to finish, they expect within 15 minutes to get fed. Now, a smart food truck owner, a smart restaurant owner will anticipate cook. Now, there's stupid people out there that will say anticipation cook means that you cooked the night before. No, it doesn't. What it means is you look outside at the line and go, I've got 15 people in line. There's a good chance that most of them are going to order product A because that's your most popular product. So you drop some of those and get them ready knowing you're most likely going to sell it. Now, if your menu's too big, guess what's going to happen? You can't anticipate cook and get it right. So a place like Wendy's, for example, worked there many, many years, and the food is literally made when you order it. They don't have pre-done sandwiches sitting up hoping you're going to order something exactly the way they have it made. What they do is they assemble it based on your specific condiment requests, but that burger was cooking probably when you walked in the door. Wendy's teaches their people how to anticipate cook based on the cashier calling out, we have a car on the lot, we have 4 guests in line, we have 10 guests in line, and the grill person drops the number of patties that's associated with that number. They sell singles, doubles, and triples, so they could probably do a 1-to-1 on the guest count. But as they made their menu bigger and bigger, and they added on chicken and varieties of chicken and chicken nuggets and fish and all that other stuff, it made it harder to stay focused on, we want to sell the best possible burger out there. So that's why you get in line at a Wendy's nowadays, and it takes way longer to serve than it should because they can't anticipate cook any longer. And I can promise you, when they anticipated the guest line and cooked appropriately, the burger was extremely hot, extremely fresh, and it came off to you when it was dressed the way you wanted it, and you'd bite into it and go, wow, this is great, because they had a really good chance of being able to cook the food and know you're going to buy it. But the bigger the menu got, the harder it is to make those choices. That's why we tell people, have a small menu, be the expert at something and sell it. You can't be a jack of all trades and sell all kind of different things thinking that's going to increase your sales, because it won't. What it does is it slows down your service. And when you slow down your service, people don't want to come back because they don't want to waste time standing in your line. Now, I know that there's people out there, and I've had a bunch of people argue with me on this recent post about speed of service and should you continue to take orders when you have a big long line and the kitchen's behind. And the answer is no. You want to have policies and procedures in place that help the staff understand what they should and should not be doing. So those policies and procedures are very simple. At Burger King, we took 3 and then we stopped. And when one order came out, then we took the next order. When another order came out, we took the next one. The idea is not to overwhelm the kitchen. The same with the drive-thru. People go, well, 1,000 people pull up. Well, you know what? 1,000 people can pull up, but they still can only take the order one at a time. Go to the fastest drive-thru out there. And it's not McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's. It is Chick-fil-A. Go to a Chick-fil-A, they on average will have 11 cars in line, and they can move them. And the people don't mind standing in that line or waiting in that line and moving because they know they're going to get their food pretty darn quick compared to Grandpa working at the food truck that has 11 people in line and it's going to be another hour before they get their food. And yes, I've been to food trucks that are just that slow. And no, I've not gone back to them because it's my time. And you're not going to waste it because you don't know how to anticipate cook. You don't know how to make your menu thin enough to be able to serve it quick enough to impress people. Now, if you did like a sit-down restaurant and told them, you don't have to pay me until I give you the food, let's see how many people actually hang around for you to send that food out at a snail's pace. We went to a restaurant just the other day, me and Melissa. We went to a Cracker Barrel in Destin, Florida. We wanted to eat there because we had to go to Best Buy to get them to do something for Melissa's mother's iPhone. So we go to kill an hour while we have to wait on Best Buy. Then we go to Cracker Barrel, sits on the parking lot of Best Buy. We made the mistake of going to Destin, Florida on New Year's Day and going to a restaurant that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon should have only had 3 or 4 cars on the lot. Well, they had about 20. And I said to Melissa, they're not ready for this. And she goes, oh, they're ready for it. We'll go inside. I said, no, they're not. So we go inside. There is one family getting ready to get seated before us. They had 3 people, and it took the host about 7 minutes to get them seated because she kept going back and forth trying to see where she could put them. And I really think she was just trying to buy time to get the kitchen caught up, but she finally got them seated. Then she very lackadaisically walks back to us and says, hey, how many people you got? Well, it's just me and Melissa, and there ain't nobody else behind us. That would be 2. And she says, give me a minute. And she goes and makes her rounds through the dining room and finally comes back and says, I got a table for you. Follow me. We follow her. She takes us to a table that hasn't been wiped down. It's got all the residual condensation from all the drinks. So you know the thing hasn't been wiped down. She doesn't bother to apologize, doesn't bother to find a towel. She just plops down the menus and all that condensation and says, y'all enjoy your meal. So we sit there. The server has apparently one half of this section that we're in, so she's already overseated as it is. A sit-down restaurant should have a guest count that a server is able to take care of and take care of appropriately. And whatever that one is at Cracker Barrel, she was way over it because she had way too many tables that we could tell. So she's come out, she talks to the table, delivers some food, doesn't acknowledge us, goes back into the kitchen. Comes out about 4 or 5 minutes later, talks to a table that apparently didn't get all their food delivered to them. This is a different table. They had 6 people sitting at it, which is exactly right beside us. She grumbly apologizes and goes back to the kitchen. Still doesn't acknowledge us. Grabs whatever was left off their table, brings it to them, then comes over to us and says, can I get y'all's drink order? Not, hi, how you doing? Sorry about the wait. Nothing. She was as grumpy as she could possibly be. So we order 2 waters, and then she goes back to the kitchen. And another 7-8 minutes pass, she brings the waters out. She goes over and checks on another table, and you can tell her demeanor and her complete attitude is she just did not want to be there. So she's not offered to take her order. She's not apologized for the wait, and all she's done is deliver 2 drinks. And I'm watching what she's doing. I'm watching what the management's doing. I'm watching what the other employees are doing, going, we ain't going to get waited on anytime soon. And if we do, have a very suspicious attitude towards that food. If it's going to be hot, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be edible. So we sit there another 4 or 5 minutes, and now we've wasted well over 25 minutes in this restaurant. Still have not had an order taken. Still have not had anybody acknowledge us in a pleasant manner. And I finally just told Melissa, we just need to go find something else to eat. because by the time we get and go drive somewhere else, probably be about the same time we get fed in this place. So we got up and left because they hadn't taken our order and gotten our money. Can't do that at a food truck. So if I went to the food truck and placed an order and then waited 25 minutes for food that should have only taken 6 or 7 to be cooked, there's a problem. That's why you got to line pace. What line pacing means, again, is you take a certain number of orders and you stop. The number of orders you take should be relative to the speed of service that you should have. So if your cooking process means that you take an order and you want to have that thing out in 7 minutes, then you take 7 minutes worth of orders. Now, if you got a properly trained cashier, that means you're taking 7 orders. So what that looks like, guest number 1 steps up and places an order. It takes them 1 full minute. There are no tickets anywhere in the kitchen, or rather there's no orders on the screen. You should not be using handwritten tickets. You should not be using pre-printed tickets. You should not be using thermal paper tickets. It's 2025, y'all. Get a KDS system and use it. Save yourself the thermal paper. Save yourself the headache that every time you open up the window, a ticket falls off your ticket rail and hits the grill and turns into a black slip of paper that you can't read. Somebody that's using printed tickets is guaranteed going to be slow. No matter how fast they think they are, they're slow because they're dependent upon a ticket and a ticket rail, and a ticket rail has limits. That means they're either double hanging tickets and hoping that they don't fall, hoping they don't screw up the order that they're in, hoping beyond hope that they can get all those orders out, knowing full well they can't because they've already exceeded their cooking capacity, because they're still stuck in the 1990s using thermal paper tickets. Use a KDS system. Use a system that's going to automatically alert your guests that the food is up without you having to use pagers. It's 2025. Use their technology. You don't need to spend money on pagers. So pacing that line, what does it look like? It's simple. We talked about 7 people in line, 7-minute order taking or 7-minute cook time. So guest number 1, 1 minute later. So now the kitchen is starting to work on that food. Guest number 2 steps up. So guest number 1's food is 1 minute under the cooking process. Guest number 2 places an order. So now it's on a 7-minute timer. Guest number 3 places an order. It's on a 7-minute timer. So order number 1 should now at this point be 2 minutes into being cooked after guest number 3 has placed an order. So there should be room to put the food down. You shouldn't have exceeded any capacity. If you have, then the cashier needs to be aware of that from the cooks. Hey, we need to stop taking orders for a second, which means no matter how long that line is, the cashier goes, hey, let me help get some food off this truck. I'll be right back to take your order in 1 minute or 2 minutes or however long it takes to get the food out. If the kitchen is not letting them know that, hey, we've exceeded our cooking capacity, and that usually happens with fryers, then the cashier continues to take order number 4, order number 5, order number 6, and then order number 7. At the point that order number 7 has been completely taken, that means order number 1 has had sufficient time to be cooked and handed out. If at that point the food is not ready, cashier knows at that point we got to stop taking orders, and then apologizes and says, hey, I will be right back with you as soon as we get some food off this truck. As soon as order number 1 gets completed and off the truck, the cashier now and the cooks now have only 6 orders waiting. They go and take 1 order. If food comes out while the cashier is taking that 1 order, guess what? They can take the 2nd order. If food comes out while they're taking the 2nd order, they can take the 3rd order. If food ceases to come out, they stop taking the order. And what that means is at no point should your cook's line have more than 7 orders working. 1 goes out, you take 1. 1 goes out, you take 1. Always have 7 working, or whatever your cook time is. If you can get the cook's cook time to 3 minutes, then you're able to take 3 orders, and then you stop, because if you're not getting the food out quick enough, there's a bottleneck somewhere. The staff is not adhering to what you have stated is the cook time. So taking 50 orders because there's 50 people in line does not serve your business. It does not help you. There are a bunch of amateurs out there that are telling people to handwrite tickets. There's a bunch of amateurs out there that say thermal paper is great. There's a bunch of amateurs out there that tell you to buy those pagers and spend money on the pagers, only to lose them and have them break and then have to replace them. Or then wonder why they don't work because somebody's walked off beyond the range of the capability of that pager. They all have limits. Use the guest technology, which would be their own cell phone. You get modern technology. It's 2025. Get a KDS system, get an order up alert system, all integrated into one POS, and use it. If it's not available, don't use that system. It, again, is 2025. Learn how to pace your line. Learn how to judge when somebody says, I'm a mentor and I can teach you how to do stuff, when they have no clue how to do it themselves. Working off of one food truck, owning 2 or 3 food trucks in a restaurant does not make you an expert. What it does is make you experienced. You want to learn from somebody who has had multiple restaurants in multiple locations, multiple food trucks, multiple hot dog carts, multiple street food vending apparatus in operation, that's going to teach you how to do things and get you to have a sense of urgency so that you can do what? Bring in more money. The faster you go, the faster you can take orders and get the orders out. And what does that mean? More orders coming in is more money coming in. But when you slow down and say people wait on good food, they're waiting because you stole their money. And then once you give them the food and they have a chance to have their hunger satiated, they're going to say, yeah, it's awesome. Because all those endorphins have been flooded their brain and they are no longer pissed because you're slow as molasses. They got their hunger satiated, but they're still going to remember next time they get hungry and you're around town, they're going to go, well, I don't think I got time to waste to go to Grandpa. I'll go somewhere else. And they will go somewhere else. And you won't know it because you are on their mind. And I really love to have that sandwich. They're too slow and I ain't got time to waste. And you never know it. So when someone says, yeah, they'll wait on good food, you kidnap their money. They have no choice. Put the sign out there. You think you're that awesome, put the sign out there. That's my challenge to you. You think you're so good, put that sign out there and says, the wait from this point is 30 minutes. And let's see how many people will wait. Here's another thing. Right as you're getting ready to collect that money, say, hey, it's going to be 45 minutes before I get your food out. See how their disposition changes. Because you tell me after I place an order, it's going to be 45 minutes, I'm going to say, nope, I ain't giving you any money. I'm out. I can go somewhere else and get just as good a food in 45 minutes. Your responsibility as a food truck owner is to be hospitable. That means you have to respect your guests' time. If you don't respect their time, they're not going to respect you enough to give you that second chance. Don't be slow. Learn how to pace your line. Do not blow away your kitchen because, hey, we got 50 people in line. All you're going to have is 43 upset people because you're not fast enough to get them taken care of quickly.